This is part two. So okay, so I started talking about the different types of things that can help improve the injury and help it heal faster and more effectively. So these include taping, which is like wrapping up the injury. This could be with a sling. Thermotherapy, which is treatment with heat. Chirotherapy, which is treatment with um, so like ice pack stuff like that. Dry needles, which is like acupuncture, really getting to the deep, and then deep tissue massage, which is like really deep massage, getting right into that muscle, getting right into the tissue around the injury. So as you can see, taping will be used quite frequently at the start. What this scale is 5 is very importantly used, and then 1 is not that needed at this stage. So as you can see, it goes along in the months that will be used. So 5 is important, 1 is not. So as you can see, taping is very important at the start of the injury, but as we progress, as it moves more, we use tape less to allow it to move, allow it to support itself, stuff like that. Thermotherapy won't be used quite at the start because it needs that time to rest and not be so not be so sore and stuff. And then it's used right in the middle, more and more, and then less used when it begins to heal more and more and more. Chirotherapy is pretty much the same as the thermotherapy, so it's not really used at the start because it needs time to settle down, and then it's used a bit more than heat therapy because it's a better treatment, and then as the injury heals more and more, it gets less and less. Dry needles is not used almost till nearly halfway because it's such a deep treatment that like it would hurt and damage the muscle even the injury even more if it was to be used too much at the start. So it's used more to the end, when it's more healed. Same with deep tissue massage. There's no point really putting a lot of pressure on it at the start because that would just make it worse. And then, as you can see, it's used more to the end. Below that is a line graph of how it be used. So as you can see, above is in numbers, and as you can see, this is how it's used below. So taping is the blue line. As you see, used up, use at start, up, dips down, stuff like that. Okay. Next is treatment overview. So in the inflammation stage, the treatment overview is it will last about 2 to 5 days. It's only the acute phase is working on reducing swelling and pain, e.g. pure rest. So this is just summing up what we've gone through. The repair phase is about 4 to 6 weeks, working on the functional movements and partly the strengthening phase, so more the body weights. It's helping to re-strengthen and help proprioception. This is like dynamic stretches and bodyweight exercises. So this is just a summary again. Remodeling is the 1 to 6 months, so basically the whole time. It's working on strengthening and sports-specific phases, so the sports-specific exercises. It's helping on strengthening, getting back to the sport. So this includes the weight-bearing exercises and the contact football drills. During this injury time, I've set Toby some goals to reach. This will give him good motivation and it'll be able to help track him easier. So for the short-term goals, we'll be reviewing each goal, and each training focus in the final week, each one. So they're highlighted in yellow bits where we said about review. The mid-term goals will be to gain 70 to 80 match fitness back. And to also be able to train with contact using the injured shoulder, so be back in training. And then reviewing all the goals met and making new ones. So reviewing the goals that have been set and then making new ones. Keep that motivation, keep that positivity. The overall long-term goal will be to going back to playing first-team football, so getting back in the team, being fully fit and healthy and ready for the season. Okay, so there's the second rehab patient, so rehab program 2. My athlete is Callum Lippett. He is a footballer. He plays left midfield at a professional level. He has a grade 3 Achilles rupture, and the estimated recovery time for this is 4 to 6 months, just like the shoulder injury. So a bit of an overview of the injury. So during the last pre-season game before the season, Callum suffers a slight Achilles strain. He decides to play it on, and then went to train fully 2 days later. So he didn't have any treatment or anything. He just ignored it. Then during the training session, Callum then overstretches for the ball, causing it to rupture his Achilles. So he clearly had caused an injury during the game, chose to ignore it, chose to not treat it, and then it escalated very quickly. So much like the first training program is split up into the weeks. Lasting for 6 months, because that's how long the injury is gonna last for. It's again, you can see the different weeks and then the different months, so 6 months as well. And you can see it's split up into the different stages again. So like the first rehab program, you got the acute phase, which is 2 weeks long, functional movement, which is about 5 weeks long, strengthening exercise, which is about another five weeks long or so, and then the sport specific training, which is the longest period of time, but that's when he really gets back into his football and getting back into playing professionally and properly. So as you can see, they're split up into different phases. The goals of the phases are, so the acute goals are to reduce the pain and inflammation, much like the first rehab program. The functional movement phase is the introduction of proprioception, getting back that movement, getting back that stability movement in the ankle. The strengthening exercises, the body weight and weight exercises. So this is like the building the muscle back around the injury, building up that strength in the ankle, being able to run on it again. And then the skill-specific sports training. So this is like the stuff like running and stuff, getting ready back on that ankle, getting that ankle sports ready and that Achilles ready to be playing football again. Like the first rehab program, there's the review phase. So the review phase is highlighted in yellow. This is where the phases will be reviewed to see whether they are able and fit and healthy to move on to the next phase. So as you can see, an example would be if they were doing body weights, you'd review how well they are doing those body weights, how comfortable his Achilles is coping with those body weights, and if he is, then we'll move on to the weight exercises and so on and so on. It's all about reviewing whether it's healing well, or whether he needs to be set back, or whether he can even be pushed forward a bit. Okay, so the actual training focus. So the training focus for the acute phase is just pure rest until the pain and swelling has gone down. So you're looking at a couple of weeks of just rest, icing it, elevation, keeping it out of harm's way, just really resting it, no exercises. But then you move on to the functional movement phase, and this includes both light static stretches to improve the range of movement, and also dynamic and ballistic stretches. So what's included in here exercises would be the standing calf stretch. This can be shown in number 1, so as you can see the picture there. This should be done for like, if this exercise is too easy, then you can increase it to a wider stance. You can even do band stretches, which was also shown as a picture example. But if this is too hard, then you can do a smaller stance, or you could do less reps maybe. So it should be about 7 reps, 1 set, 30 seconds in between each one. The next one is a foam roller. So this is shown in picture number 2, as you can see. If the foam roller is too easy, then you can improve to a bar, or even a small ball, getting that really like sharp digging into that thing, really rolling it around, really massaging it. If that's too hard, if the foam roller is too hard, you can move to a smoother roller or just apply less pressure. This should be done for about 15 reps, 2 sets, 1 minute in between. Next exercise is a towel pickup, and this is shown in picture number 3 down there. If the towel pickup is too easy, you could try it standing up instead of sitting down, or you could use a heavier towel. If a towel pickup is too easy, then you could use possibly a lighter towel, or even do it 2-footed with both left and right foot. This should be done about 10 reps, 3 sets, 30 seconds in between, something like that. Something nice and easy. The final one is calf raises. So this is shown in picture number 4, all those 4 pictures. If the calf raise is too easy, you could add a ledge, giving that more of a stretch on that Achilles. And if that's too easy, you could do it on the one leg that's bad, so really putting all that pressure onto that leg. If calf raises are too hard though, you could try it sitting down, so just raising your calves up and down, so there's less pressure on your overall ankle. And if that's hard, you could do it with less stretch. So instead of fully extending your ankle, you could do it slightly until it hurts and you can't do it anymore. This should be done for about 25 reps, 3 sets, and should be about 30 seconds rest in between.